She is a software strategist. She is from Ireland, and you like Ireland? Yeah, it's okay. And she enjoys moving logs at Red Rocks early in the morning. Please welcome, for the very first time to the comedy stage, Anne-Marie O'Connor!
So I have an accent. Maybe you didn't realize. I'm Irish. So people just come up to me and say, "Top of the morning to you." It's like, rarely is it morning. And I've never said it in my life. It's an American thing. People also greet me and say, "Pink hearts, blue moons, and green clovers." It's like, what the hell do you say to that? Like, snap, crackle, and pop back at you? I've actually had dinner guests bring me a box of Lucky Charms. It's like, thanks very much, I was expecting a salad. So people do think my accent is charming. They'll say to me, "I don't care what you say, just keep talking." It's like, all right. Feck you, up your arse. Is that charming enough for you? So, Americans do appreciate the Irish, and that's really nice. However, I think I've met the only man in America, my boyfriend, who doesn't think my accent is charming. He doesn't understand a bloody word I say. I love him though, he's a great fella. But our relationship thrives on our inability to communicate. So, if we can't communicate, we can't argue, so it's great. And we both blame my accent. So, for example, we'll be on a road trip and I'm there chatting away, no response. It's like, who the hell do you think I'm talking to? Like, do you think I'm over here making up limericks? There once was an arsehole from Denver. To be honest, I don't understand myself half the time. Especially when I get angry. I found myself in work the other day getting upset, and I said, "Guys, this is like taking a sledgehammer to a kitten." It's like, they don't even say that in Ireland, they make up this shit. I know it's terrible, it's charming. So I tend to use my accent and my heritage to my advantage now and again. It's like, "Oh, officer, top of the morning to you." Sorry, didn't know that was a one-way street. You go the other way in the old country. The leprechauns made me do it. Not to mention I wasn't drinking or anything. Happy St. Paddy's Day now, officer. So I also used my Irishness to my advantage when people started to tell me I had a problem with the drink. They said, "Of course I said I have a problem, I'm Irish." So they were attacking my identity, not just my behavior. It's like, when did being Irish become being a drunk? When did that happen? My family didn't get it either. I called my brother and told him I was an alcoholic, and he said, "Come home out of that, that's an American thing." My other brother, he said, "Thanks be to Christ, it's only the drink. I thought you were going to tell me you were fond of girls." Much better to be suicidal, crumpled heap. So my family, I get on great with them. I talk to them regularly. However, they don't get me either. So I've been here for 15 years, and they ask me the same bloody questions every day. The phone will ring at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's my brother. "What time is it there now?" "It's time for you to shag off and do a bit of math." Or my mother will say, this is a good one, I get this regularly. "Joe Murphy's sister moved to the States. Any sign of her?" "Yes, I drove by Michigan the other day and she says hello." I think they think I'm going to forget them or something. Every time I go home, they send me packing back to the States with all this memorabilia, Irish memorabilia. It's like big pictures of the sea, and there's tea bags, there's stolen road signs. And it's actually very hard to get away from them these days, virtually at least. Every time you turn around, they're Skyping and texting and pinging you. It's like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, will you leave me alone? There's a reason I'm 5,000 miles away from this. So I go home pretty regularly, and when I go home, I always bring a black frog. I like to hit a few funerals. They're a great time saver because half the country are there. And there's always someone kicking the bucket. So I find it very weird, actually, when you go to American funerals. It's like, where's the corpse? It's like there's a PowerPoint presentation for 45 minutes. And then you go home. So at home, the corpse is on show for several days. Sometimes it's hard to find them. You go into this little house and it's jam-packed with people, and you open this door and there's music, and then the other door they're singing and they're crying and they're laughing. So eventually you come across them. The conversation is entertaining over the body. It's like, Jesus, Mary, he just looks like he's sleeping. But then after looking at this fella for 2 days, it degenerates into something like, God, Mary, you're right, you have his nose. So I spend a lot of time working on myself. It's exhausting. So I want to grow and come out of my shell. So recently, I decided to go down to 16th Street Mall with a sign and offer free hugs. I thought it'd be good for me. Help me handle rejection. So there it was. I said to myself, 3 hugs, and then I can go home. That was my goal. And it was the weekend of the stock show. So you had a repressed Irish alcoholic, and you had a bunch of cowboys. None of us good huggers. So it was kind of pathetic up there. Needless to say, people were crossing the street rather than hug me. I would too. So it got pretty bad, because I swore I wouldn't take any pity hugs, or at least I wouldn't count them. People were starting to feel sorry for me. So, I mean, even the homeless wouldn't hug me. Not that I was that fond of hugging them either. So eventually I thought of it. I mean, I couldn't reduce the price, right? So maybe I could pay them. So eventually I thought I'd change up the sign. I said, hug me, I'm lucky. And then the hugs came flooding in. So, thanks very much.